What's going on, guys? My name is Richard. Welcome back to the Stock Market Outlook video. We'll talk through the price action of the leading stocks on the market, the true market leaders. Then we'll cover the price action of the major indexes, my previous watch list, and we'll also talk about sentiment, the IBD Big Picture article, and the GMI Signal from richardlmoglen.com. It's a long video, so feel free to use the timestamps down below to navigate to your preferred section. But we're going to cover a ton of charts today. And if you appreciate what I do and enjoy these videos, please go ahead and leave a like down below. It really does help me out and my channel. So starting things off, let's start with the true market leaders. And first off, we've got SC, which is breaking out into all-time highs on huge volume. It looks very, very strong. Great reversal action on this day, which really set up this move upwards. And next up, we've got NET, which is trending above all those key moving averages. And if we open this up, you can see that a whole bunch of these true market leaders are at price new highs, relative strength new highs, had upside reversal bars. So we're seeing a lot of positive action and not so much of these negative red columns here below the 21 EMA, below the 50 SMA, and downside reversal. So overall, I think that's a good sign, and the leaders are leading. So next up, we've got Crowd, which had a nice earnings gap up on this Thursday, a nice follow-on day on this Friday, breaking out into new all-time highs, a great volume coming in. And if we take this to a weekly chart, it looks very, very strong. You've got this nice IPO primary base here, and now it's just trending beautifully above that turbulence zone and reaching new all-time highs. Next up, we've got Roku, which once again is trending above all those key moving averages. Really, really strong. You've got the RS line right near all-time highs as well. Very, very good action. ENPH pulled back last week, but overall is staying above that key 21 EMA. We have a nice reversal bar here and is right near price and relative strength all-time highs. RH is right at all-time highs as well, above all those key moving averages. It looks very, very strong. This is a good name to watch if you don't want too many tech names in your portfolio. So keep an eye on this one. AMD as well had a very strong move last week. You can see it broke through the double bottom pivot here and is right near all-time highs with the RS line going the right direction as well. TTD is trending beautifully after this earnings breakout on huge volume and looks like it should hit 1,000 relatively soon, although it is short-term extended, so keep that in mind. Apps has been pretty volatile recently, but is above all those key moving averages and very close to price all-time highs. SQ as well has pulled back recently, but is holding above that daily 10-period simple moving average and looks very, very strong right near all-time highs. Fetch, new price and relative strength, new all-time highs. A great move here from this base. Really strong volume coming in, and there's only been 2 red days within this entire period, so this is a very, very strong move. If we go to a weekly chart, each of the weeks is finishing right near the top of their trading ranges, which is showing a lot of strength and power. Next up, we've got Tesla, which paused a little bit this past week, although is acting very, very strong. We've got a nice reversal bar on this Wednesday, and overall it's right near all-time highs. Snap right at all-time highs, both in terms of price and relative strength. A nice move on this Wednesday. Moving on, we've got ETHE, which is pulling back to the top of this point right here, but overall is acting well. You've got nice volume recently, and overall is right near all-time highs. Twilio is moving up the right side of this cup-shaped base after it found support at the 50 SMA. Melly right near price and relative strength all-time highs. XP moving up the right side of this cup. Upwork has consolidated a little bit since this breakout on earnings here after it moved up, but pulled back to the 21 EMA and found support there on this Wednesday. Looks pretty strong. PLTR, after this huge move, has pulled back, but this is completely normal given the strength of this move, and I would expect this to form some type of base consolidation and then resume the uptrend. GRWG right near all-time highs, both in terms of price and relative strength, acting very, very strongly above all those key moving averages. Fiverr, the same, above those key moving averages, right near all-time highs. Futu has pulled back to the cup pivot, and you do see some signs of support on this Wednesday and also this reversal day on Monday. But you do have some signs of a little bit of distribution because on Thursday and Friday, it finished near the low of the day on higher volume. Next up, we've got Peloton, which is grinding higher and had a nice move on this Monday, the 30th, as it tries to build out this base here. Corsair has pulled back like PLTR, but is finding support at the 21 EMA. You can see there's a couple inside days here, although this isn't quite an inside day, but overall you're seeing some nice consolidation at this potential support level. CELH has moved up quite nicely. You can see a nice move on this Tuesday, and overall is near price and relative strength all-time highs. ZS, along with CrowdStrike, had a nice earnings gap up 26%, and then a perfectly normal inside day on this Friday as sellers were absorbed. Pins right near price and relative strength all-time highs, as trending above that 21 EMA and 50 SMA looks very strong. And NEO is pulling back somewhat, and I would expect it to form some type of consolidation here, maybe pull back to the 50 SMA as that catches up with this level at about 38.11. So that is a run through of the stocks that I deem are leading the market. If you have any suggestions to add to this list, just let me know down below in the comment section. And moving on, let's talk about the market indexes and start with the QQQ on a daily time frame. Starting with this Monday, you have a nice reversal bar after it moved down in the morning. It finished right near the high of the day above the open. Very strong action, and that momentum carried on the rest of the week. You had another strong day on this Tuesday, a gap up and hold and close in the upper half. Then on Wednesday, we had a slight gap down, but overall a very strong close, just like Monday, and then a kind of consolidation day on Thursday and a strong close on Friday. So overall, very strong action, right at all-time highs. So this is very, very bullish, although we are potentially short-term extended at this point. So looking at a weekly chart, let's go over here. So overall on the week, we were up 2.18% with a week closing range of 96.8% and a daily closing range on Friday of 92.6%. Very, very strong action. At this moment, we are in a stage 2 uptrend, and the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher. Next up, we've got the IWM, the Russell 2000 index, and overall, once again, very strong action, up 2% with a weekly closing range of 96.9% and a daily closing range on Friday of 94.5%. So the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher, and we are clearly in a stage 2 uptrend. Next up, we've got the SPY, the S&P 500 index, and overall, we had another strong week, up 1.7% with a weekly closing range of 100%, daily closing range of 100%, and from this bar, the expectation is sideways or higher. Next up, we've got GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and overall, this was up 23.28% this week with a weekly closing range of 59.8%. It is in a stage 2 uptrend, and the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher, although this is definitely extended from a proper buy point. Next up, we've got ETHE, which also had a very strong move, the Ethereum Grayscale Trust, and overall, we're at 43.49% with a weekly closing range of 83.8%, and from this bar, the expectation is sideways or higher. Next up, we've got the DIA, the Dow Jones, and overall a very strong week, up 1.12% with a weekly closing range of 100%. And overall, it's in a stage 2 uptrend, and the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher. The FFTY, the Innovator IBD 50 ETF, another strong week, and you can see the reversal signs, which you probably saw in your own portfolio. Overall, it was up 0.89% with a weekly closing range of 79.7%. It's in a stage 2 uptrend, and the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher. And I would love to see this take out these highs right here. GLD is still struggling. You can see it's below the 30-week moving average, although it had a very strong week, up 2.7% with a week closing range of 86.3%. And the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher. Looking at the VIX, you can see it dropped last week, down 0.24% with a week closing range of 28.1%. And last up, we've got the XLF, the financials, and overall it was up 1.79% with a week closing range of 95.8%. And the expectation from this bar is sideways or higher, and it is in a stage 2 uptrend. So overall, very strong action from the general market and the true market leaders. And now let's move on to my previous watch list. So overall, we had some nice moves this past week. You had EXAS and ALGN up over 10%. Overall, we had 9 out of the 15 be green on the week. And now let's go through their charts quickly. So EXAS, you can see it had a nice move off this pivot here. And overall, nice volume coming in as well. And I would expect this to challenge all-time highs relatively soon. ALGN had a nice move off this pivot as well. Nice volume coming in and is in new price and relative strength all-time highs, trending above all those key moving averages. Sono, a recent earnings gap up, had a nice move on this Monday on higher volume and is grinding higher above all those key moving averages. AMD, we already talked about, same with CELH. And next up, we've got UI, and overall a nice move on this Friday, breaking above these highs right here after the strong earnings gap up and then consolidation. Apps and Peloton, we already talked about. PDD had a nice move, breaking this downward flag here. And this is a potential high tight flag, advancing over 100% in less than 2 months. NVTA had kind of a grind sideways after a bounce off the 50 SMA. And in mode, you can see had a promising breakout here on the first, but then completely reversed on the second. So you don't want to be holding this. You want to make sure you honor your stops in a situation like this. IIPR never broke this pivot. PRPL had a false breakout here on the 30th, and then once again a fade on this Friday on very high volume. REGI never broke this downward trend line here. And lastly, we've got DQ, which also never broke this horizontal line of resistance here at about 48.08. So that is a quick run through from my previous watch list, and make sure you guys tune in later today when I'll be posting my next one with setups and fundamental analysis. So next up, let's go over to the sentiment surveys and talk about that. So overall, you can see an increase in bullishness from 55.2% to 57.3%, which is relatively high, so keep that in mind. If we go over to the NAAIM exposure index, you can see it is above 100, which once again is another caution sign. And if we go to the bulls versus bears, we're at the highest level in quite a bit, well over 60. So once again, a caution sign. This doesn't mean that the market is going to correct, but you have to be ready for that to happen. And follow your individual stocks and deal with them one by one based off the price action. And now looking at the put call ratio, you can see it's very, very low at this time. Once again, a caution sign. And now moving on to the IBD Big Picture article, you can see that the headline is stock market indexes hit new highs. Will these 13 lucky stocks keep rising in December? So they talk about the vaccines. And moving on, they talk about the strong performance of the IWM, the Russell 2000 index. And they also talk about how, like I said, the bulls versus bears survey is very, very high at 64.7%. So keep that in mind. And they also discuss some high-performing stocks. You've got EXAS, which we talked about, SE, Snow, Twilio, Qualcomm, FND. All these stocks should be on your watch list. And overall, their take is a confirmed uptrend. Very low distribution days, only 1 on the NASDAQ and 3 on the S&P 500. So lastly, going over to the GMI Signal, you can see it is green at this point, and overall we've got a strong 6 out of 6 score on Thursday. So overall, my current view is we are in a confirmed uptrend, but be aware of that rising sentiment and make sure you have a plan for whatever happens next in the market. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos.